Hello, hi, good morning, guys, or good afternoon, actually, because I realize that it's noon. How's everyone doing? Happy holidays! I just wanted to hop on here really quick and talk briefly about what are some of the healthy tips that some people sometimes are asking me about when it comes to enjoying the holidays, especially when it comes to maybe going out and like going out to a party, like how to prepare ourselves. Really quick, let me share this so other people can also watch. Let me just move this, and then we'll get started. Hold on a second. And okay, sorry. All right, so yes, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about, especially because at this time of the year, I know that a lot of us are having, like parties, whether it's at work and family, gatherings and things like that. And the number one thing sometimes that happens after the holidays is that some of us might feel guilty for maybe eating a little too much or maybe drinking a little too much. And I am guilty, or I was guilty of it a few years ago, when sometimes we just don't think about it. We just really get into the groove, into the whole flow of the party and enjoying ourselves, and sometimes we don't think of the consequences and what could happen if we just are not very mindful about our actions or our choices. So that's what I wanted to talk about in general. I'm not gonna go too much in detail about like what foods to eat or not to eat, because at the end I really want you to enjoy your time, your parties or your get-togethers or the holidays in general. And this is one of the things that I want to bring across here, is that no matter what you do, enjoy your time. Even if okay, you had maybe a little too much to drink, if you had fun, I think it's okay. But then again, it's also keeping in mind that you're also aware of the consequences, okay? It's not just kind of getting loose and just drinking or eating, overeating, which is what happens usually, especially during the holidays, starting with Thanksgiving. That's one of the complaints that a lot of people have, including myself, that we just start eating too much. We just start eating, like a little too much of whatever is in front of us. So that's what we are going to be talking about today. So briefly, for those of you who might not know me, maybe this is the first time you're seeing me here, or maybe you've seen me posting certain things like recipes and things like that. My name is Wendy Rosenthal. I am a holistic health and life coach, and I'm here really just to open up this space and share some of the things and tips that have worked for me and other people who I've talked to when it comes to how to bring a little bit of that awareness, how to bring that mindfulness into our environment, where we are, especially during the holidays, which is it's a very fun and energetic season, but then it's also stressful. And sometimes when there's a stress, our mind doesn't function the same. So that's what I'm here for, to share some of these things that I believe are very nurturing. They're healthy options that we sometimes need every now and then. And not only that, but then one of the things that I always constantly try to remind myself is that I want to come out here, guys, to help you, to bring you some of these things that are healthy habits, part of having a healthy lifestyle. And my purpose is really to remind you of that. So every now and then I'll pop in and I post things, like recipes, tips, and things like that, because I want to remind you that there's options. There's something else that you can look at if you want. So as I'm going through this, I'm going to enjoy, by the way, I have a new recipe up on the blog, and I'm enjoying this right now, which is my eggnog. It's so delicious, so thick also. So very, very filling, actually. This is a recipe that I whipped up this morning, right before here. That's why I'm a little late. Because I was like, eggnog is one of those holiday recipes that is everywhere, but the ones that you buy at the store, they have so much preservatives. They have, sugar and like all these different things that you don't even know what they are. Why not making it yourself? It's super easy and simple. So go up to my blog, which is my website, which is wendyrosenthal.com, and you'll find it in there, okay? So let's get to the point. So getting healthy through the holidays, and this can be through any kind of holiday, not just at the end of the year for Christmas, New Year's, but in general, any kind of, holiday we might have during the year, like barbecuing all the time, which is, sometimes we just tend to eat too much. In general, it's about that, not being mindful when there's those moments in time in our lives when we're enjoying company and also enjoying food, and we sometimes don't have that we don't make that connection, where food is and where we are, in a sense of living a healthy lifestyle. So tip number one, and I'm going to keep going back to my notes, is that, and this is something that probably you heard many, many times, do not, whether you're at home or going somewhere, do not go or stay hungry, okay? I understand that we are super busy, especially if we are either cooking at home and hosting a party, or if we are going someplace to a party, that we sometimes want to say, and I know it because I heard it before, I've said it myself, my mom has said it, like, oh, I don't want to eat too much because I want to make room for the food later, or like, no, I don't want to have breakfast because I want to enjoy, all these little things that I can munch on throughout the day if I'm at home cooking, right? But honestly, and I understand that part, especially if we want to enjoy every single thing that is at the party. But at the same time, again, this is about being mindful of what we have in front of us, okay? So if you enjoy every bite or every single thing, are you really enjoying, or are you just filling up yourself with food, So when you are hungry, you will tend to overeat. You will tend to really eat pretty much everything that is in front of you. And not only that, but when you're hungry, what happens in your body is that your blood sugar levels obviously in your blood, they go down. So when your blood sugar levels go down, then the next time you're going to have something, there's going to be a spike in blood sugar. And then that's going to cause you to kind of have this like burst of energy, and then eventually you'll crash after that too. So it's not very healthy for your body to have, basically it's like having a roller coaster of energy in your body of all this sugar, and it's not stabilized. So when you're hungry, it's really hard to stabilize your blood sugar, and that's not very healthy and good for your body, because just because of the physiology of it, like what's happening in your cells, the cell pathways and signalings that is happening, that I don't want to get into that right now. But do try to not be hungry throughout the day or when you are going out to a party, okay? So, and then tip number two, and this is a very important one, and I think maybe this should be tip number one, is that when you are like on that day when the season starts of the holiday season, be mindful, and have your intentions set down. Like, have a piece of paper, or even think about it and what it is that you want out of this whole experience, whether it is a party, whether it is, like the whole season. What is the most important thing? And in reality, the holidays, I know that a lot of us make it all about the food, make it all about partying and all about the drinks. But really, let's sit down, and think about what it is about this time of the year. Is it about sharing with people? Is it about connecting with other people, meeting, like new friends, and really being there and present? So when you are aware of that, when you are aware of your feelings, when you are aware of your intentions, what it is that you're getting out of this, like what is it about having the party? What is it about? Is it because you want to show off something in your house, or you're cooking, which is not wrong, that's okay. But then again, also be aware of what's here, what's here inside and what's on the outside too of your body. So having your intentions clear will really help you being more mindful about what's around you, and that includes the food and the drinks and everything else, and also stress. It will make you be more aware of how you're feeling, and hopefully deal with stress a little better. You don't want to get into that kind of like roller coaster of emotions, like being all anxious or angry if something doesn't turn out okay, or kind of anticipating something. So being aware of your intentions is something that I will really suggest, not just at this time of the year, especially now, but not just now, but in general, in other things in your life too. So that's the next. The other tip number 3 that this is something that we should have it all year around, no matter what, is to hydrate. Start hydrating early in the morning. And this is one of my self-care tips that I always talk about when it comes to taking care of our body, is to start hydrating as soon as we wake up. Have that glass of water. I have one right here. Even though I'm drinking my eggnog, I also have my glass of water that I'm drinking. First thing in the morning, I drink a whole glass. And sometimes what I put in it is like a few drops of essential oils, like lemon essential oils. Sometimes I use lemon, sometimes I use peppermint. I use sometimes another blend, which is an immunity boost. In general, no matter what, having water early in the morning, and start early in the morning and throughout the day. Continue with that. Hydrate yourself. Even more so during the holidays, especially because you will be on the go all the time, and especially if you will be drinking. You need to hydrate your body, your cells, to start your digestion, that digestion process. And nourish your cells, especially also, here's another reminder and tip. Especially now that it's winter and it's cold. So what happens when it's cold, and whether it's rainy or not, but in the colder seasons, in the colder weather, the air gets a little drier, especially at home, because we have the heater on. And so we're drying up the air. So that's drying out our skin. Like, my hands are kind of dry right now. And yes, it helps to put lotions or creams, but it also helps to hydrate, moisturize yourselves from the inside too. Especially if you're talking, you need to keep drinking water. So that's tip number 3, to hydrate, to make sure that you're getting enough liquids, and even more so if you're drinking alcohol, obviously. Tip number 4, and this is really a good one when it comes to eating. So what happens when we eat? What happens especially when we eat a little too much? That's like a big load of food that goes into our bodies, and our bodies have to process. It has to start what we call digestion, right? So our body has to digest all of these different types of food that we will put into our mouths and gets into our body. So what happens is that if you have a big mix of different foods, or a lot of it, that's a lot of work. Honestly, let me tell you, that's a lot of overworking your body, your gut, your stomach, your intestines, to do all that work. And sometimes, most likely, when that happens, you're eating too much, you're not probably drinking enough water, obviously. Probably you're stressed. Probably you are not really aware of things until now, because I'm telling you to do all these things. So when there's all that overwork in your body, and then not taking care of these other things, like getting restful sleep, getting enough water, or being more mindful about other things, getting rid of stress and things like that, that's too much stress physically and emotionally in your body. And it's not very healthy. It's so much stress. And what will happen is not just as far as having maybe indigestion at the end of the day, or maybe the next day you feel all yucky because your body's kind of what happened? It was just this overload of food that your body needed to digest. And if there is a party or a gathering or something going on, and you're eating throughout the day, oh yeah, thank you guys. I just got reminded. If you think any of this is beneficial for anyone, share this video, please. Share, especially now, especially today, tomorrow. I know, and even the New Year's, people will be going out and all that. So share it, okay? So going back to what I was saying. So especially now, as we're eating maybe throughout the day, snacking on things, and, eating a little bit too much carbs and things like that, it's just so much work for your body, and your body is never really resting. It's just using a lot of that energy to digest your food. And you, honestly, guys, you need some of that energy to heal, to take care of other parts of your system. So it's like, really, honestly, imagine yourself being, I don't know, some sort of machine. And if you only are concentrating energy in one part of it, what's going to happen to the rest? It's not going to work very well. So you might start experiencing, like other things, like symptoms. You not only being tired, but maybe you'll be having a headache, or the next day you're like extremely exhausted. And then, it's just not a good feeling. So with digestion, again, be mindful about digestion, not just eating a little less or being mindful of what you eat, but for example, helping digestion, the digestion process. For instance, eating a little bit more probiotics, which is something that we always hear. Probiotics, there's like fermented foods, there's yogurt, there's like all these different things. And now at the stores, like there's so much, like so many options now that, not all the time you have to make your own stuff. Also, with that, there's also probiotics. There's prebiotics, which is really the food that your probiotic bacteria, or the bacteria that is in probiotic foods, will feed from. So you also need prebiotics to feed the healthy bacteria that is in your gut, because you need that support. It's like those bacteria in your gut is really helping to make to make digestion easier. It's protecting you from bacteria, viruses, anything like that. It's really easing the digestion process. So you need to feed it. Those are your little workers. So you need to nourish it and feed it. And one way of doing that is with prebiotic foods. And what are some of the prebiotic foods? Are, for example, asparagus. Obviously, is a lot of the green vegetables. That's what they are, and especially the ones that have fiber. And so leafy greens, for instance, asparagus, also onions and garlic. They're also probiotics. Prebiotics that will feed your bacteria. And in general, having some sort of fiber, and that not only will help you with the digestion, but also will keep you feeling full, satiated, so you don't feel like, I need to eat something right now. Okay, so that's tip number 4. So to recap, tip number 1 was to be aware of your intentions, what it is that you have, that you are experiencing at that moment. What are the holidays about? Like, really think about what's the whole meaning or purpose of the festivities around you. Is it just food? Is it about you or other people? So that's number 1. Tip number 2 is do not be hungry throughout the day. Whether you're at home cooking a feast or going to a party, do not stay hungry, okay? Tip number 3 is hydrate. Hydrate. Have water, have juice. If you have juice, make sure that it doesn't have sugar, or it's not like from concentrate, or because here's the thing too, guys, when it comes to alcohol and sugar, and I'll talk about it later, but both of them, they are really cutting down your nutrition intake. So if you're eating healthy foods and then you also overload with sugar and alcohol, it defeats the purpose. It's cutting down, it's replenishing your nutrient intake, so your body will not be able to uptake the nutrients from the healthy foods that you're eating. So it doesn't really, make sense, right? Oh, I thought I had a straw. Hold on a second. Okay, let's continue. So that was number 3, having enough water throughout the day. Number 4 is to help digestion, help the digestion process. Whether it is eating healthy foods that will have probiotics, for example, or fiber and things like that. Also drinking enough water, that also helps digestion. It's really being aware of it, why you need to do that. Tip number 5, it is if you're munching throughout the day, or if you're going to a party, have healthy snacks and food. I know it kind of like makes sense coming from a health coach, but in general, have some veggies around, some nuts, some a little healthier. So not only you don't feel guilty about it, but also your body is going to appreciate it, because you're not feeding it junk food at the end. So again, this is so that you're not hungry throughout the day. Okay, so have like a little platter, and if you have a party at home, you can have some veggies on a platter and some, like healthy dips and things like that. Make your own hummus. Have something that will keep you satisfied throughout the day, and something that will be available, so that if the first thing that you see it is, I don't know, potato chips, and then eventually you will go to them, then you're not going to feel satisfied, and you're going to keep eating and eating and eating, and next thing you know, you might be eating the whole bag. So obviously it makes sense having healthy snacks, healthy choices around. Tip number 6 is that, especially, and again, this goes along with having something healthy, but this is especially when you're going out at a party. Okay, let's say you go out to a party, your friends invited you, or your family, and sometimes you don't have so much control of it, right? Like, how many times, raise your hand if it has happened to any of you, that you go to a party and maybe the food that they're serving is not, like something that you would choose, whether it is health-wise, like they're having, I don't know, too much fried food, for instance, or they're having maybe ingredients that you can't tolerate, or sometimes, I don't know, like their cooking is not the greatest. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, so that you don't find yourself kind of like feeling the pressure, or like not knowing what to eat, or at the end having to eat everything that is there, bring something that you will eat. Bring something that is your favorite, so you for sure have something that you will eat at that gathering or party. And not only that, but also you're sharing something that is from you, that is one of your favorites, something that you enjoy. So that's a better way to be in being part of that environment, that festive environment, and bring something that you made yourself from your heart, and also something that you can eat, so you don't feel the pressure that you have to eat everything that is out there on the table. So that's like a good tip to remember. Tip number 7, okay, and guys, again, if you think this is helpful for anyone, share this video out with your friends or anybody else out there. Here's tip number 7, and this is something, here's the thing that is in every situation, every party, every gathering, everywhere, is alcohol. Okay, I understand. I've done it myself before, having a little too much. If anything, let me tell you a little thing before I continue. Many, many years ago, before I was into this whole health and wellness and awareness and mindfulness, everything is, I always thought of myself being, healthy in a way. But there was a chunk of time many years ago, like I said, more than 10 years ago, when I wasn't so mindful of what I was doing to my body. And so I wasn't so much a party animal, even though some of my friends or ex-boyfriend at that time, or boyfriend at the time, told me about it. But I would just overdrink, and there was the Christmas party we went to. It was my boyfriend, myself, some friends, and my mom. We brought my mom and my grandpa. And after the party, we went to a friend's house who had a karaoke machine. Anyway, so we just kept drinking and drinking and drinking. And honestly, I do not remember anything from that night. And I got shit-faced, like, from that party. And I was embarrassed, because I woke up the next morning in my bed, and I didn't know how I ended up there. I felt bad because my mom obviously saw me, and she was kind of like not upset, but I mean a little like, oh my God, Wendy, really? And then I was just kind of like, a little too much. And I remember, I think that was maybe if not the only time, one of the really few times that I got really wasted. And obviously, if you've been there, you know the feeling the next day. You feel not just awful, like your body's hurting, your head is spinning, you can eat, you can sit, you can think, all you want to do is sleep, but even sleeping doesn't feel comfortable anymore. So that's an awful experience. That's something, I just didn't want to have again. And I understand when there's parties, and I've been in many ones where I've seen people that get, a little carried away. And so I know we want to celebrate, but then at some time, again, it's about what it is that we're celebrating. Are we celebrating the alcohol? Are we celebrating us? Are we celebrating all of us, the environment, the people, our family? So with alcohol, it's really choosing wisely. Choose wisely what it is that you want to have, what it is that you like to enjoy. Because really, guys, and this is again, I said it in the beginning and I'm going to say it again and again, the whole purpose of this, of any kind of party, gathering, holidays, anything, whatever you want to call it, the whole purpose is to enjoy yourself. Now, this is also keeping in mind that you are aware of the consequences, whether it's enjoying, having fun, being happy, or enjoying yourself, enjoying the food, the drinks, and feeling kind of like not very good the next day. If that's what you choose, go ahead, enjoy it. At least you had, I don't know, a couple hours of fun before you crashed, right? So, so the thing is that be aware of that. And so one of the things when it comes to drinking, when I'm going somewhere, going out drinking, to a bar, to dinner or anything, I try to prepare myself and I start to think about my choices. So what I will say is stay away. If you're trying to keep, kind of balance your alcohol intake, and since that one time, about, more than, I think it was 15 years ago when that happened, that episode I told you about, I just didn't drink as much anymore. And obviously, as I started getting to know more about my body, getting into this whole coaching and wellness, and especially after being diagnosed with cancer, alcohol is not an option much anymore. I have a drink or two every now and then, maybe three, depending what it is, but I'm not going to get that, like that again. So I'm aware of not just my choices, but I'm aware of what it is that I really need, what I really want. What am I enjoying at that moment? And so when it comes to alcohol, choose wisely. Choose, for example, alcohol or drinks that do not have a lot of sugar, that are not loaded with sugar. And sometimes they come in a way of, fruit juice, any types of juice, or even like putting like mojito. I used to like mojito. I still like mojito, but I know they put a lot of sugar in it to make it super sweet, or some sort of syrup. So I don't have them as much anymore. And if I do, I will tell them to kind of like go low in the sugar. Because, I don't want to taste syrup. I want to taste whether it is the alcohol, the gin or rum or whatever they put in it, or, any of the other ingredients in any of the drinks that I will have that is a little sweet. So if I'm going out or if I'm going to a party, either I will choose drinks that are not loaded with sugar. I will have most times actually, I will have red wine, which, here's the thing though, it does have sugar, but it's not as, it doesn't have a lot of sugar than, juices in drinks. And not only that, but at the end, red wine is a little healthier. It has antioxidants, so it's good for you every now and then. And again, before going somewhere, I kind of limit myself, or I tell myself how many I'm going to enjoy. Is it going to be one glass? Is it going to be 2 glasses? Maybe 3? And honestly, when I say 3 glasses, the last glass, I just kind of hold it. I don't really drink or finish the whole glass. So at the end, I just have like 2 or 3. But, 3 is just like holding, kind of like nursing my glass. But anyway. So red wine would be a good option. Another one would be having drinks with clear liqueur, things that have, for example, vodka or gin, rum, or even bourbon and things like that are a little sweeter, but still is much better. Basically what I'm saying is anything is better than having those fruity drinks that I know a lot of us girls like to have, right? Like those little like cocktail drinks, which is fine. Maybe you can have one, but if you keep loading them up, it's just like too much sugar, at least for me. And in this whole alcohol section, of the tip, I will suggest, and this is something that I try to have, that's why I will have maybe up to 3 glasses maybe of wine, having water in between. Honestly, guys, having water helps a lot. It not only helps you kind of like filling yourself up in, like liquid wise, so you don't feel like you need to keep drinking or eating, but also it helps dilute the alcohol, and also it helps, like in the digestion process when your liver is processing the alcohol in your body. It's not a lot of work for your liver. It's not a lot of work for your organs. So at the end, it's a good way for you to kind of help or ease that process of metabolizing alcohol. So drinking a glass in between, like I usually have a glass of water and my drink. Sometimes I have, if I'm drinking like clear or like cocktails, with vodka or something else, I'll have like a lot more ice than anything else. So at the end, my glass will be like more ice than the actual drink itself, and I'm okay with that. And here's the thing that I noticed, and probably some of you have noticed too, whether it's going to a bar or a party, and especially when I know I don't want to drink as much. And probably some of you guys have felt the pressure from people, right? Like most people are like, oh, come on, like have a drink with us. Like, don't be a party pooper. Why don't you drink? And blah, blah, blah. And you don't want to be judged. You don't want to be, like criticized. You don't want to be the center of attention because people are making fun of you. And I know it. People have done it. I've seen it. I've been experiencing it. And who cares? But here's the thing, guys. Most of the time, either those people are already a little too drunk, and they won't even notice sometimes if you kind of make this little trick, which is what I do sometimes, which is, again, holding my drink and not really drinking it, And that's why we'll have that third glass of, drink, and just holding it and nursing it, or putting more ice into it. So it kind of, looks like it's full, and kind of making a sip, but not really drinking it. I know it's kind of like cheating, but it's for my own good. Okay. So, and again, this is for some of you who are more concerned about that kind of stuff, or like if you're going to a bar, especially if you're going to a bar, because in a bar, like whether you're with friends or you meet people and then there's people or guys inviting you and giving you drinks and stuff like that. I just have to do that sometimes, like, especially if there's somebody I don't know. I don't want to get, all like, I mean, like I don't want to get drunk, obviously. And so I just kind of hold my drink and kind of sip it, but not really, like, anyway. So drinking lots of water as you are drinking your alcohol, okay, your drinks, and always that's part of keeping yourself hydrated. It's also part of helping your body digest not just the food, but also that alcohol, metabolize the alcohol that is getting in your system. So your liver is a little, it's a little easier for your liver to go through that process. So that's tip number 7. And and here's the other thing that I wanted to mention when it comes to alcohol, and these are some tips that I had, especially when it comes the next day, especially when there's a, like you couldn't avoid it, you had a little too much, and then sometimes what happens, we feel, like hungover, we have a headache, we feel like our bodies can't, like function the same anymore. So again, I said it before, alcohol and sugar depletes your nutrient intake. So no matter how healthy you will eat, you are losing nutrients. And one thing also, can't even talk. You're losing water. You're losing electrolytes. So you need to replenish that. Okay. So if, let's say, it happened that you had too much drink or too much sugar, here are some of the things that you can do to maximize your nutrient intake. And it's really replenishing yourself with water and nutrients or electrolytes. And, for example, some of the foods that are high in potassium, magnesium, and zinc, which are your electrolytes, which are so, so important for essentially cell functioning, okay? These are something that you do need no matter what. You need electrolytes for your cells to function properly. So some of the foods are, for example, and this is kind of obvious, is coconut water. That's one of the, like a really good, not just food in general to eat as far as coconut, but the water itself has a lot of electrolytes that is good for you, for your body, to replenish that. Another one would be pickle juice or any kind of fermented or sauerkraut foods, fermented food or sauerkraut juice. So why? Because it does have some, I know it might have a little bit more sodium, but you only need a little shot, like a 2-ounce glass shot of it to kind of like replenish it with that potassium, sodium, and magnesium that you need, and probably you lost as you were drinking a little too much. Then another one that I sometimes do to my water when I'm drinking water, I have like a little, like a little dash or a sprinkle of sea salt, whether it is Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, because they are really high in minerals and electrolytes also. So the thing is, you need to watch also your salt intake. But what I'm saying is just having little bits it helps, and especially with the salt. I hope that you guys are switching from using table salt, like the ones that sell at the store in the little canister, the ionized salt. Switch to either Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, which are much better options. And then as far as magnesium, things that have a lot of magnesium are, like, for example, nuts and seeds, like pumpkin seeds, almonds, walnuts, and things like that. Chocolate. Chocolate has also magnesium, and it has antioxidants. It has some other things that is good for you too. But again, just a little bit. You don't need to like give yourself like a chuckload of chocolate. So these are some of the things that you can, like nibble, the next day after you've been drinking a little too much, because you do need to replenish yourself with those, not just the water, but those electrolytes, which are very essential for you. And lastly, I think this is tip number 8, my last tip, really, which again, it's like with anything else happening as far as gathering or, like enjoying a moment, is self-care. I know I've talked about this before many times. I've talked about it. I had a challenge before. You need to really do a lot of self-care, like having moments in which you really are taking care of your body, your mind, things that you're doing. You need to have that, that moment in which and this kind of aligns with the tip number 1, which is, what are your intentions? What it is that you're enjoying? What are you celebrating? So part of doing self-care rituals is really for that, to realize what it is that you have around you to celebrate. What it is that you have here in this container to celebrate. Up here, what do you want to, especially for this time of the year, what are you celebrating? What it is that you have to give. And part of, when you are more aware of it, when you are more aware of your intentions, of what's going on, you do start paying more attention to your needs, to your body. And therefore, you will start taking care of yourself. You'll make best choices in the things that you eat or drink. You'll be more aware. It's like when you have a kid, like, I don't know if you guys out there, everybody out there is a mom or a dad if you're watching this too. But when you have someone, a little someone, or whether it's a baby or a pet, like for me right now, it's my cat. She's right there sleeping, so cute. When you are responsible for someone or something, you really want to do the best to take care of it, right? Like, you really want to make sure that it's growing well, that nothing happens to it. But then again, you're taking care of everybody else or this, little thing, but then you kind of forget about the most important person too, which is yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, how else in the world are you going to take care of your family? And with that, it's like being aware of things, like how to reduce stress, like how to really find that time during the day to kind of like think about the things that you need to nourish your body, nourish your mind, get rid of stress, getting more sleep, eating healthy foods, drinking more water, having a massage, like getting your nails done. I know I need to get them done. Maybe I'll do it after. I don't know. But at the end is being aware, bringing that awareness into your life, and then realizing that you are valuable, you matter, you are someone very important. You are enough, you are beautiful, you're plenty. Tell yourself all these things, all these positive things. That's another thing, having positive affirmations. What are you so proud of about yourself? I know there's so many things that we can share, yet we don't focus on them. We usually focus on, I have a little, too much, love handles, or, like my nose is not very straight, or like this eye is smaller than the other one. Anything, women, we criticize ourselves even more, and there's no need for us, especially at our age right now. we need to really start appreciating ourselves more, loving ourselves more, and teaching that to other people. Because honestly, guys, we need to do that. We need to be the teachers. We need to be here. And maybe that's something that we can work together towards teaching people how to embrace themselves a little better, how to love themselves, how to be here so that we can create a more peaceful environment. I know with everything that is going on right now, people are hopeless, some people are kind of like down. Let's try to, still celebrate what we have, okay? So at the end, self-care, I think, is also one of the top ones. And with this whole thing, and kind of to round it up, really enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself this holidays. Whatever you do, I hope that any of the things that I mentioned will help. That is something that you've been probably kind of like wondering about, or something, some of them have been new. Who knows? Hopefully it's been helping for some of you guys. But overall, enjoy yourself. Enjoy your time with family and friends, whatever you do, even if you're eating a little too much. Like last night, I was here live and I had a little too much chocolate. And I'll be honest, at the end of the night, I wasn't like that super happy. But I made a commitment and I went to the gym for 2 hours. Yay. So that's another thing, being aware. And I'm like, okay, if in one area I'm not that very good and I'm eating a little too much chocolate, so I'm going to do something that will make me feel better about it, okay? And not, because I don't want to feel guilty either. So even though I say, well, I ate a little too much, but at the end, I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I enjoyed it. I know it's just like, a couple extra ones that I had, but I still went to the gym. I worked out 2 hours. I sweated my butt off. I came home. I had my meal. I slept well. I'm doing good things about myself. So that event, that experience of having too much chocolate, it's like, it's okay, it's gone. So whatever you do, guys, enjoy yourself, enjoy your time, be here for people, be yourself, be present. That's another thing. I think that's the best present you can have for everyone. Be present for other people. So thank you so much for being here. Happy holidays. I hope you enjoyed this. And I'll be seeing you guys again soon. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Bye. And before I forget, if you want a recipe of the eggnog, so it's up in my blog, wendyrosenthal.com. And you look it up in it, try it out. It's very, very delicious. It is dairy-free, so it is not with milk, like regular cow's milk. It's with almond milk, but still very delicious. And also follow me on Instagram, because I've been very, very active out there with the IG stories. So I just want to share the things that I'm doing in the kitchen, outside of the kitchen with my kitty. And so overall, just being here, part of this community. So thank you again, and I'll be seeing you guys again soon. Bye.